Hello, cats and kittens. Odewa Jose Yoroshku. I'm back in the Crisis Corner, giving my impressions on the first two episodes of Ahsoka. Um, I got notes. I don't have crazy amount of notes, but I do have some notes that I took as I'm trying to figure this out. Oh, off the break, first of all, I'm not a Star Wars basher per se, but I'm not a fan either necessarily because to me it's kind of like the Disney Marvel stuff is sliding downhill, and I don't know if it's ever gonna get right, but whatever. So Ahsoka, uh, it's only two episodes, so the jury's still out, but whatever. So I'm referring to my notes on this flat out. Ahsoka plot. The plot is Ahsoka Tano investigates the emergence of a threat to the galaxy following the fall of the Empire. Now, and this is my fault. I'm lazy on keeping up with where everything falls in chronologically, so I'm not exactly sure what the state of the New Republic is relative to the fall of the Empire. So this is, I'm assuming again, I don't care enough to try to pinpoint the timeline, but this is the after Return of the Jedi, but before all of the race stuff, I believe. I don't know. Whatever the state of the Republic is, there's probably some reconstruction thing going on, clearly. So if Thrawn comes back, does he instantly just start stuff back up again? And is it dangerous for one dude to come rolling back in? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so there's that. The threat seems to be the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn. Um, the plot revolves around what's typically the Star Wars trope now is fetch quest, find a map that leads you to Thrawn, was in exile. I'll get to that later. And it's very much dependent on your knowledge of Rebels, probably some of Clone Wars, maybe some of the TV shows. I don't know which ones, to be honest with you, Mandalorian, whatever, and probably one of the movies. But again, uh, I'm trying to just look at this at face value and see, what's good and what's not. Anyway, so that's the basic plot is she's investigating the threat of the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn. So there's that action. And I'm just going by categories. In my estimation, the choreography is not top notch, but it's not altogether embarrassing either. So it's okay. Um, the opening scene with the two Jedi, I'm trying to, well, spoiler. Yeah, then maybe there's going to be some spoilers in here, I guess, but I don't care. Anyway, so the opening scene where the two Jedi's come and slaughter all the red shirts. That's a Star Trek reference. Um, these people were born to be murdered, so there's not much going on there. These two, not Jedi, but Jedi types, whatever they are, we haven't clarified if they're gray Jedi, dark Jedi, Sith, whatever. But they roll through those guys. Those scenes are not, they're okay. They're okay, but it's just basically cats getting slaughtered. So, anyways, then you get into, I'm just going through some of the action scenes that caught my eye. Sabine gets into a fight with some droids and actually resorts to hitting them before she gets hold of her lightsaber and does whatever. I mean, punching droids don't seem like that's really going to work, but that's me. I don't get it. Also, another person, Sabine, she gets stabbed. You get lanced through the gut, which apparently does nothing to anybody if your name ain't Qui-Gon Jinn or Han Solo. Gut stabs don't really mean anything. They destroy androids. So there's that. And Ahsoka's fighting scenes are generally they were okay, but they seem a little stiff when she fights the androids at the opening when she's starting her fetch quest to find the golden sphere, which is a map of some sort. Um, okay, that was okay. So the action is it's okay. The acting is wooden, flat out. There's no other way around it. It's wooden. All of the heroes are stoic. Maybe it's because they're Jedi. Maybe it's because they're just stoic. But they're stoic, so there's no opportunity for any breakout performances. All the villains are stoic, so there's no opportunity for any breakout performances. The only person that got any particular type of personality to me is the performance of David Tennant, and he's a robot. He's an android. So that tells you all you need to know about the acting. The pacing, that's where we get into trouble for real. It's tragically slow. Pacing is very slow, which is typical of Disney's work, especially in their Star Wars stuff. You get the feeling that the story is being padded. They're long sequences where people are just either walking around, walking up to something, walking away from something. They talk to each other. It's like the reverse of the old school dialogue from the 30s and the 40s, where dialogue was right on top of each other. Hey, how you doing? This or that, 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 that. Very quick pace. These guys just say, hey, how you doing? How am I doing? Yeah, I'm okay. It's stuff like that. It's just like long, dragged out pauses for no reason that I can possibly think of. So, and plus they're stoic, so they ain't got no energy to start with. So it's just these boring dialogues that stretch out for long periods of time, which makes me think that they're padding time to pad time. I don't get it. Anyway, so there's that. Long halting dialogue, Ahsoka's long drawn out scenes where she's going to find the MacGuffin device at the beginning. So she goes through this thing where she fondles these columns until they spin and open and grant her access to the MacGuffin device, right? And she has this knowing smile on her face as she's accomplishing these tasks. I have no idea if she's figuring something out, and this is astute on her part, that she's actually unraveling a mystery that is difficult to solve. It's like if I saw somebody working a safe, working the tumblers on the safe, I say, "Oh, that's a safe cracker, right?" So is that the effect of her fondling these pillars in the? So is that good? Does that mean that she's smart? Is she clever? I don't know. The same with Sabine. She figures out the little Rubik's Cube ball thingy by twisting it until the images on the ball line up with the images that she pulled up on some kind of a whatever. And was that clever or was it obvious in every? I mean, Ahsoka called Sabine in for some sort of expertise. That's the first thing that I probably would have did was try to line up the lines on the ball thingy. I mean, just for the heck of it to see what happened. But it seemed like did she figure out something? Was it clever? I have no context to figure it out. Maybe I should have watched Rebels first, and then I see that this is the way you always do that. Find all the columns until the thing pops up, and then blah blah blah. And is are these items, are they mystical? Are they technical? Or is it a combination of magic and text? Anyway, so just that aspect of it, things are really slow for no perceivable reason on my part. But then I'm not initiated, so you probably, if you're of the initiated and you understand these things, then good for you. All right. Then there's some general nonsense that I really don't understand. Star Wars seems to be dependent on fetch quests lately. Go back to The Force Awakens. We got the map to get to Luke Skywalker. You go back to Rise of Skywalker. It's a map to show you how to get the Exegol, a map to show you how to find a wayfinder, whatever. Who's making all of these maps? Okay, if you need to find, again, not knowing the specifics of how Thrawn got into exile, so Ahsoka squeezes Morgan Le Fay or whatever her name was, and she gives up the location of where the the golden ball is, which contains a map that gets you to get the Thrawn, right? Which means who made the map? Was it LaFay? Because if it's LaFay, why don't you just squeeze her and ask her where Thrawn is? Flat out. If it was who made the map? Because if it wasn't the Republic, because they would already know where he is. If Thrawn made the map and gave it to LaFay, why did he just tell her where he was? What's all this map business going on? Who's making these maps? I don't know. But that's just me. Okay. The Republic is now taking over the Empire's territory or whatever, but they left all of the infrastructure, all of the employees of the Empire were left in their place. But they say, oh, they're not loyal to the Empire anymore. They're just working for money. Okay, so the Nazis, you depose the Nazis, right? I can understand Operation Paperclip. You take their brightest minds and use them for your own advantage, right? But you just don't hire everybody that was the enemy to come work for you, period, or leave them in their place and let them do jobs. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. Why leave all of these people? I mean, you say, well, the empire was huge, and you don't have enough employees to take the place of all of the people that work for the empire. Then scale it down. Shut them factories down and just have less factories and more of your people working in there. Because these people were war criminals, right? Now, I'm assuming if you're saying that the empire was down for dirty stuff like whatever it is evil that they're supposed to have been doing, I'm honestly not convinced exactly what. I mean, aside from blowing up Alderaan, blah blah blah, the cast that blew up Alderaan should be put to war trial crimes and executed. Mass murder. Okay. The guy that was working the gum machine on Planet X, it just happened to work for the Empire. All right, maybe you let him off. These guys should have been either locked up, tried, executed, or banished or something. You just don't leave them where they are. Of course they turn on. It's a scene where these loyalists to the Empire turn on Ahsoka and General, what's her name? What's her name? I think the green lady. Anyway, they turn on them for the Empire and try to assassinate them. First of all, why did he shout for the Empire before he took the shot at her? I don't know. Probably should have shot at her first and then said, for the Empire, whatever. So but why leave these people in their jobs? Why leave these people running around free? Of course they're going to turn on. Maybe that's the threat that Thrawn represents, that once he comes back, all of his people will still be working their jobs, so they'll easily side with him. I don't know. Okay, so you have that. Why does the scene where after golden map is recovered, the evil guys get the golden ball map from Sabine? A droid is left in her apartment waiting for her to return. And that's the means by which they track down the manufacturer of the assassin droid that leads them back to whoever. Anyway, it's more fetch quest anyway. But why was that? I mean, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Why was that drone waiting in Sabine's apartment? For what? For all they knew, she had died on the operating table, but the mission was accomplished. So what's to be gained by waiting there? This is poor writing, whatever. Um, Also, from my understanding, Admiral Thrawn is in another galaxy. Okay. Now I understand that sci-fi plays fast and loose with time dilation. That's true. But unless you're working with Stargate type technology, Thrawn died trying to get to that galaxy, and if he did get to that galaxy, he's dead by now. Space is big. Space is also not static. You know what I'm saying? These galaxies are moving either towards each other or away from each other. How he got to another galaxy, if he moved somewhere within your galaxy and you just got really sophisticated translate warp engines that can get you around pretty quick, like Star Trek, that's fine. Like I say, I don't insist on any, you know, accurate representation of space travel. That's fine, but you stop pushing it when you're saying the dude, like Stargate, for instance, Stargate TV show, which is really need to watch that. That's fine. But they had the Pegasus Galaxy and the Milky Way Galaxy, but they travel through the wormholes of Stargates. You can get there quick. Boom. Instantaneous travel. If that's what you're talking about, I got you. But outside of that, man, Thorne's dead, man. Anyway, but that's a small pet peeve. Anyway, also they seem to be building another mega structure. How could the Republic not know that their mega structures cost money? And yeah, the former employees of the Empire are poaching money probably and using resources from the Republic to build a mega structure, which is exactly what they probably would do if you left them at their jobs, which is another reason that them cats should have been executed or locked up. But they're building another mega structure, which is either a teleport transportation device or a weapon, which will probably have a weakness that they're not rebels anymore, but they'll exploit and blow up, just like in all the other movies. So that's sloppy. That's kind of old writing. And, there's a, you can, I'm going to stop there. My overall opinion is that this is starting off weak and it's a very, it's kind of hack, but hack based on the progression that they seem to be following. Fetch quests, mega structures, blah, blah, blah. Star Wars is just self-perpetuating tripe at this point. And, I'm trying not to be extremely negative, but it used to be a story. It stopped being a story after the prequels because the prequels were about something. The sequels are not about anything. They're just perpetuating themselves for the sake of the franchise, which is, if you want to go Jurassic Park and stuff like that, you can do that. That's fine. But the shame of it is that it used to be a franchise that was telling a specific story. And it could be if you just come up with a story and stick to it and keep going forward. But the story that I don't even know what they're doing right now. And they're making stuff up to keep it going, which is, what franchises do at times. But you could also stop while you're ahead and just stop. They don't have to be a Godfather 6. They don't have to be Gone with the Wind 4. You can just stop and do something else. Or come up with a good story as to why you can keep going. But so far, to me, after probably Rogue One, Star Wars stopped making sense. It's just nonsense. It's just keep going for its own sake. So Ahsoka is not horribly bad. It's just more of the same stuff. It's content. It's content. And if you like content, there it is. It's not terribly good content, but it's content. So that's it. I'm gonna keep watching it because something might happen. It might turn over. It might, blind squirrel technique. They might come into some good fights. So when we get to the bits where they really start spending the budget money, they probably come up with some astonishing visuals or some concept that wows you, or I don't know. But I keep watching. I ain't got nothing else to lose. I'm already paying for the Disney Plus. So anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know if you think it's good content or bad content, or am I being too harsh? I don't know. But until next time, stay loose.